Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful interview for you this time. They're all wonderful, of course, but this one is a corker, I would say. It's with a gentleman called Rodney Shand Gorham. It's quite amazing. He joined the Army here in Nova Scotia, as so many of our lads did. He went off to war, and he is somewhere overseas where he'll tell us he was a little later. And he looked up in the air and he saw an airplane. And I think he said, I'd like to do that. So he got out of the Army, joined the Air Force, came back to Canada, learned to be a pilot, went back to the war all over again. And we're going to hear all about that. How are you, Rodney?
Fine, sir.
Welcome, sir. Nice to have you with me.
Glad to be here.
Good. Now, can we back up and find out where you were born and when?
Yes, I was born in, should I look at any? I was born in Woods Harbor, Shelburne County.
Woods Harbor, Shelburne County. Good.
Yes.
And when?
Born in 1922.
Oh, that makes you right up there with me almost.
Yeah, cold March day.
Right, cold March day. And you had a usual Nova Scotia youth, I take it?
Yes,
Went to school, grew up, yeah.
Yeah, went to high school.
Yeah.
Picked apples in the valley, done
Yes,
all those things.
Yes, lovely life. And then, of course, 1939 crept up on us.
Yeah.
And the war began. And you were, what age were you now when the war broke out? About 17?
Well, I was legally 17.
Yeah.
But for the Army's benefit, I was 19.
19. So many of you chaps did that. And so you went and told them you were 19, and you joined what?
Joined the West Nova Scotia Regiment.
The Novies, the West Novies. Good. And what happened to you then?
Well, we did some training in Aldershot and Bridgewater, and then we were sent overseas in 1940.
Right.
I arrived in England.
Now, wait a minute. You were sent overseas. You went to Halifax, did the usual thing.
Yes.
Got on a ship. What ship, do you remember?
I think it was the Aquitania. That's the name I remember.
Yeah. All right. And you had a crossing and landed in where?
Landed in Liverpool.
Liverpool?
Yes.
And then they took you by whatever transport?
Train.
By train to where?
Down to, it was called Woking, Surrey. I thought it was Aldershot too. It might have been, but
oh no, Woking, Surrey is quite near Aldershot.
Yeah, Woking, Surrey.
Yeah. Well, that whole area, I think we call Aldershot.
And there is an Aldershot in England.
Oh,
right?
yes, there is.
That's why I remember.
That's where the one here got the name from.
It is.
Yes. So anyway, you wound up there, and they trained you.
Yes.
Yes, you'd had training in Nova Scotia, of course.
Yes.
But they trained you, and then did you get to France, or?
Oh yeah, I was there on D-Day.
Were you?
I was
really? In the Army?
No. Oh, no.
No. Okay.
No,
Yes, I want to get to the point of your strange transformation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So now you were training in England.
Training in England, doing sham battles and
yes, and all that
long
sort of
marches.
thing. Yes. And when did you decide that this wasn't for you, but you'd like to fly?
Well, I was there during the Battle of Britain. You've heard of that,
Oh,
where there was
indeed.
so many aerial combats over England.
Yes, sir. I was there at the time.
And everywhere I went, there was dog fighting and a
Yeah.
lot of excitement.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd like to get up there because all we were doing was playing
You're playing
games.
Games.
Yeah.
So what did you do? Did you say,
Well,
go to somebody and say, look, I want to do that, not this?
No, I was in the Army. I could run like a deer. I was in good shape. In fact, I
Yeah.
was a physical training instructor.
I see. Okay.
And I won a lot of races for my regiment.
Oh.
With the backpack on and all, you
Yes,
know,
yeah.
battle dress, and we used to
Yes,
run
yes.
and have contests.
And contest for this. Oh, yeah.
And that way I got to meet a lot of the big shots, the generals and brigadiers.
Yeah.
And
Who were very proud of this fellow that could run very fast.
Yeah, they were proud of the regiment.
Yeah, sure.
So they said, look, anything we can do for you, we'd like to show our appreciation.
Ah.
So I said, get me the hell out of here up in the air.
That's wonderful.
So he
And
said,
they said, all right.
well, he said, we'll inquire about it and find out what the particulars are, and we'll sure give it a try for you.
Yeah.
And they came back and said, look, they're going to give you 12 hours of flying. And if you can show us in 12 hours that you got the potential to be a
Yeah.
pilot, we'll shove you through to be a pilot.
Isn't that amazing? What a great chance, eh? So you did that.
Yes, I did 12 hours.
Yeah.
And
Where'd you go? You went to somewhere else. You went to...
well, went to London, and
Yeah.
actually I did my flying out of Windsor Castle grounds,
Oh, no,
where the
really?
king used to hunt
Yes.
pheasant. It was a
Yes.
grass field.
Ah, yes, and you went there.
Went there and did my training, yeah.
Oh, isn't that true? So they allowed us how you had a potential.
Yeah, in 7 hours I was up flying by myself, so they thought
Oh, my
they
gosh.
thought I had a little talent towards flying, and I just was dreaming, nothing but flying was
I
on
know.
my mind. So
I know, sure.
I spent the last of the 3 or 4 hours making 12. We were doing all kinds of stunts and flying bottom up down the Thames River and all that stuff.
Oh, my God.
Real good instructor I had.
Yeah, you must have. Now, tell me this, Rod. May I call you Rod?
Yeah. That's it.
Tell me this. When you put your hands on the plane first, did you say to yourself, this is for me?
That's right. That's right. I knew. I just fell into it. It was
Yeah.
something I wanted to do from the minute. I never thought of flying in my life until I was over there and saw the dog fights.
Saw the dog fights. Isn't it? Wonderful story. Now, so you now have to train.
Yeah. Now there was come the big part of it.
Big part of it.
Yeah. Going to school. I went to an
And all
officer's. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you had to come home
They sent me back to Canada.
to do because the Commonwealth air training
Yes.
plan was here.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So they sent you back.
Yeah. and
Sent you what, to officers training school?
Sent me to officers training school in England first. I did
Oh,
OTU.
did you?
OTU they call it,
Yes, OTU, yeah.
and did a lot of studies there.
Yeah.
In fact, I was, when we started, I found it kind of tough. They were doing a lot of math that I hadn't got into, trigonometry and all that.
Yes, I know.
But I used to get the teacher down on the beach on Sunday when he wasn't doing anything to work with me.
You were surely determined, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so now you go through these trainings in England, then come back to Canada?
Yeah, then they
And
ship you.
what do they do in Canada? Just plain flying?
Just flying, yeah.
Flying time, yeah.
In England, you sort of got graded whether you were first put into air crew,
Yeah.
but if you got this pilot 12-hour course and made it, you were going to be a pilot.
Right.
If you didn't get good enough for what they wanted out of
Yes,
that 12
yeah.
hours, then you became navigator, air crew, bomb aimer, or
I
part of
see.
the air crew.
Yeah.
They all wanted to be pilots, but
Yes,
they
it was,
didn't. make it.
very few of them made it, though.
Yeah.
Because either they had deficiency in
Yeah.
sight or
Yeah.
they didn't take to it or something, yeah. Now, when you came back, what did you train on? You
First-
didn't know, although you wanted to be a pilot and all that, you didn't know at this point whether you were going to be a fighter pilot or a bomber pilot.
That's right. That's
Yes, right?
We didn't know that.
No. So so what did you train on in Canada?
Well, we started on the Tiger Moth,
Oh,
open cockpit biplane.
yes,
Got 55 hours in that.
yeah.
And in that training, somehow I read a few reports on my training.
Yeah.
You'd get to find out from somebody what they thought of you. And I got a lot of reports, said he was a responsible type person.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this automatically meant boneless. And
Oh, did it?
I didn't know that. I
No,
could
no,
have been
at the
pretty
time.
reckless because I wanted fighters. I could have
So
been.
had your report been that, oh, this is kind of a crackpot
Yeah, that's-
guy, you would have been a fighter pilot.
That's exactly right.
Yes. Yeah.
So they sent me to twin engine school after the Tiger Moth,
yeah.
where if I was going to be a fighter, they sent me to single engine,
Single engine. yeah.
Harvards and
Yes,
things like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
So I got on the twins, and I knew then I was headed for bombers.
Yes, yeah.
But after graduating the school in, I think it was Estevan, advanced flying course,
Yes.
then they said, okay, now we'd like you to do a little instructing here in Canada.
Oh. Now,
Right.
where was this taking place? Trenton or?
Out in Moose Jaw area.
Moose Jaw. Oh,
Moose
the
Jaw.
prairies. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Saskatoon
Yeah.
and Regina. And
Yeah. So now you got what some of the lads told me is the curse of being a good flyer. You got it laid on you because when you're a good flyer, they want you to be an instructor. Am I right?
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
guess so.
Yeah.
Well, they knew I was pretty keen about flying, I
Yeah.
guess, and got good reports, and that means that they wanted you to teach a while.
Sure,
But
before.
I didn't want any part of that.
I bet you
So I
did.
told them I'd like to go back to England and, you know, get
And
into
get
the
up in
war.
those dogfights.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so they said, finally, okay, if that's what you want. We'd
Yeah.
like to have you here, but we can't.
No.
You know, if you want to go overseas, you go.
Oh, that's good. So you went overseas now, and you're now a full-fledged bomber pilot.
Well, not exactly. I was a multi-engine trained pilot.
Pilot, okay. All right.
In advanced flying. And when I got in England, I had to go to a school called bat flying.
Bat flying?
They called it bat because I guess you were blind. You took
Oh.
off with the hood on and you flew all around, did
Blind
things,
as a
come
bat,
back
yeah.
with the hood on, landed with the hood on.
Oh,
It was a special course for bomber pilots
gee whiz.
because we flew all weather, you know.
Of course. Well, with the hood on, you must have had instruments in the hood, didn't you?
We can see instruments in the plane, but the
But you
hood
couldn't-
keeps you from looking out.
Out the
You
windows.
can't see out
and-
the
yes.
window.
Okay.
So we had 20 hours of that.
Yeah. My God. Who thought up that torture? I wonder.
Well, I really enjoyed it. because
you?
It,
Yeah.
it gave you a lot of confidence.
Oh, I bet it did. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're back in England training for this kind of thing again.
Yes.
And when is it that you know what kind of bomber you're going to go into?
Well, they give you different jobs. Like I flew as a staff pilot for a while. Flew some of the higher mucky-mucks around. you
Yes.
know.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Got a job doing that for a
You
while.
always had good luck with these higher mucky mucks, even in the army. Isn't it?
Yeah, I looked up to them, and I got a lot of help from them.
Yes. Well, that's good.
And they said that, well, we need you in this area for a while doing this. And I said, well, is there any chance of me getting fighters now? He said, well, we're not sure, but if you do everything we ask you to do, there's a chance. So I would have done anything to
Sure,
get out of
yeah.
bombers.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, they were fine, but they just left me with a feeling that I couldn't get up there and really do
You
stuff.
really do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
You wanted to do that bang bang fly upside
Yeah.
down business.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So now they finally put you in a section of either what was it, bombers?
Yeah, they called it operational training.
Ah, yeah.
Now you're going to learn to be a bomber pilot in action. So
Uh-huh.
how do they train us? They used to send us over to France and
Yeah.
on training missions, dropping leaflets. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
got shot at and everything else like the other guys, but
But you were just dropping
it
leaflets.
seemed like they were trying to introduce me to a little plaque,
Yeah.
a little of being shot at.
Shot at,
That's what
surely,
it
yeah.
appeared to me, because
Yeah.
and we used to
Yeah.
go over at a certain altitude and then try to attract the German fighters and things, thinking we were going to be the bombers.
Bombers. Oh,
Then
I
we'd
see.
disappear off the screen. We'd dive down from
Ah,
10,000 to 4,000 and
Oh,
back to
yes,
England
yeah.
again.
What was the stuff that they carried in the planes that they threw out the windows or out the cockpit, and the aircraft, the anti-aircraft guns couldn't get them? What?
This was my fate. That's because I ran out of this stuff.
Oh no!
When I get into bomber pilot and flying and doing German cities, bombing German cities,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
always carried a whole load of this stuff.
Well, when you were doing the leaflets, you carried it too.
No.
Oh, didn't you?
We
Oh.
didn't. No. I don't remember ever having any on the leaflet run.
Oh yeah.
But when we went into real combat in the
You
German
had this
cities,
stuff. What's it called?
we called it chaff.
Chaff.
Yeah. It's all shredded aluminum. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh.
Thin tinsel type stuff.
And that kind of breaks up the.
When it comes down, it distorts what they see on their radar, so they can't pick any one bomber out.
Oh, what is
But
that?
the big story about
Wouldn't it be fun to find out who discovered that?
yeah, that was a very helpful thing to
I
us.
bet it was, yes. And there was something else. When you were a bomber pilot, you didn't want to be coned by the
Searchlights, they were very bad.
Is this right? Yeah.
If one got on you and it just blinded you, you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So you immediately threw the bomber into a corkscrew thing,
Yeah.
which made it hard to stay in that light.
Yes, yeah,
We'd
yeah,
twist
yeah.
and turn
Yeah,
and
called evasive
dive
action,
and then
I
pull
guess.
out.
Yeah.
And you must do it immediately, because if one guy held you for at least 3 seconds, there'd be 10 on you.
Oh,
And when
wow.
they got that many on you, you
On
couldn't
you,
do anything.
you
You
couldn't
couldn't
do-
see to fly or anything
Or
else.
anything else. No,
Just
I bet.
blinded you.
Oh, I bet they were.
And then they
What
shot you
lights
down.
they must have been.
They
Boy,
were powerful, very powerful.
Yeah.
But it made you a sitting duck once they got
Oh,
8 or
yeah.
10 of those on you. You,
Oh,
you were, they could
for
pick
sure.
you right off.
Okay, now how old are you at this time?
At this time, I would have been, see, 43. This would be 22 to 42 would be 21.
21. Here you are, a 21-year-old guy. You've now finally got your plane. You're up there throwing leaflets and so on.
Yeah.
And what are you thinking about? What do you like this? Do you
Oh,
love
yeah.
it? Do you
Oh,
love
yeah.
this?
I wouldn't have missed the mission for the
Wouldn't
world.
you? Oh, boy. And so now, what do you when you throw the leaflets out? What are you flying? What kind of a plane?
But that was a Wellington.
Wellington.
That was
Oh,
a medium bomber.
That's funny. I thought it was a Halifax.
The Halifax was the big one that I flew later.
Later. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is Wellingtons you're flying now.
Wellington, we flew into France with the
With
leaflets.
the leaflets. Yeah.
But
Okay.
when they started bombing the big German cities,
Yeah.
and then I got into 4-engine Halifax.
Did you ever go on one of these great big raids?
Oh yeah, 1,000 bomber raids. I was
Oh,
in 2 or
my.
3 of them.
Yeah.
There was something to see as far as you could see in any direction.
There was planes.
Yeah, there was planes.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
just, it was amazing.
You wonder
and
you wouldn't run into you.
gave you a
So-
wonderful feeling to be part of it. You know?
Oh, I bet it did. Yeah. Did you ever run into each other?
Oh yeah, over the target area, a lot of
Did they?
collisions.
Oh my.
See, we did most of our bombing at night,
Yes.
and complete blackness. You couldn't have any lights of any kind on.
Kind on. No.
And everybody converging
Because
in on the
they
target.
See, yeah.
And
Oh,
I many time I had to really rack the thing over to get away from somebody that was sliding in, you know.
and- oh, wow.
But I thought, for a while, I thought more planes came down from collisions than were shot down.
John, isn't that amazing? No, in these 1,000-plane raids, were there, did the Germans send up fighter planes
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Did they?
yeah.
Did they?
There was fighters and flak, and
and everything
it
else?
was a real exciting time.
Oh, my gosh. Well, might have been exciting to you. I'm certainly glad I missed that myself. Anyway, now, how long did you do this, Rod?
Well, I did this 43 and 44.
43, 44.
Yeah.
Gee.
The November the 1st,
Yeah.
44 was my shooting down.
Oh, okay. Now, wait a minute. We'll get there. How many missions did you do before that?
I had 11 German cities, major German cities,
Yes,
like
yeah.
Oberhausen, Dusseldorf, and all
Yes,
of those.
yeah.
But the French, I was over there a few times before the invasion, just going into the coast and bombing the coast of all the defenses they had,
Yes, yes.
trying to knock out the pillboxes and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Oh, yeah. You had explicit targets.
Oh, yeah.
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 And that's before you left.
Preparing for the invasion
Yeah.
for the army.
Right. Okay, so now tell us about the shooting down.
Well, on November the 1st, 1944, we were,
The invasion's all over.
yeah,
And so on, and they're going inland in
Oh, yeah.
France, the armies. And so
yeah, we'd bombed a few times on the advances of our own troops,
Yes.
spoiling the German counterattacks by
Ah,
just
right,
dropping
yeah.
on them. But the night I got shot down, I bombed Oberhausen, which was a Rhine Valley, what we called Happy Valley, because there was so many shots coming at you. And
Yeah, the
coming out,
Rhine Valley. Yeah.
I had bombed the target and was on the way home. And the crew told me, they said, we've run out of chaff. I said, well, we should be far enough now to be back over our own territory.
Yes.
We were probably within a minute or two of our own territory. The
yeah.
navigator told me that, I remember.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden we got a hit,
Oh,
and I went into immediate evasive action.
Yes,
I said, well,
yeah.
somebody just got lucky and hit us.
yes.
So I did some evasive action, and I straightened out, and bam, we got it again.
Oh.
And I did that again, and we got hit 4 different times.
Now, this is in a Halifax bomber.
Halifax bomber, yeah.
Okay, big one.
The 4th shot that we got hit, we caught fire. And I knew right away then that the game was up,
Up,
because
yeah.
we were half of the plane was fabric, you know.
Oh, sure. Oh, wow.
So I flashed a warning to all the crew positions to get out, abandon ship.
Yeah.
And 5 of them were over the escape hatch putting on their chutes, ready to
Yeah.
go, and we got a hit right there.
Right at the escape hatch. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That must have,
So that scattered them
yeah,
all around the place.
yeah.
And the mid-upper gunner was still back trying to fight a fire back in the
Yeah.
mid position.
Yeah, the middle up gunner?
Yeah, the mid-upper gunner. So I flashed again in his position and then looked around and waved him to get out, because
yeah.
by then my jacket was my jacket was burning.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And excuse me,
Yes, yeah.
I didn't think we'd last too long, so I was
Yeah.
trying to get him out.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all he remembers was, excuse me a minute,
Yeah. Sure, I see.
he said he I'll tell you how I heard his story later, but
Yeah.
before he got to the escape hatch to get out, we
Yeah.
must have blown up, because
This is a tough time to talk about, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, take your time, Ron. It's all right.
anyway, I didn't know what had happened until I came to falling.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the pilot sits on his parachute when he flies, you know. So
Right, yes.
I had mine on him already. So
Yeah.
when we blew up,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and
So you're just blown in the air, we
yeah,
say.
and I
You
come
don't
to
yeah,
falling.
falling, yeah.
Yeah.
And now, is the cord, in other words, your
the
chute
chute
is
wasn't
deployed?
going. No,
Oh, it wasn't?
no. When I come to, I reached over, pulled the ripcord, and
Wow. Wow.
Float.
You had, isn't that great? You had sense of mind when you came to do it.
oh yeah, you think real quick.
Oh, I bet you
When
do.
you're falling through space, I
Holy
suppose
smoke,
you
yeah.
pick up to a certain speed, you know, and then you just stay at that speed till you hit.
Yeah, never having done that, I didn't know that. Now, tell me, your mid-off gunner, was he on the way down too?
Yeah, but
Same-
I didn't know that. When
Yeah,
I come to, I didn't know anyone survived, you know.
Surely, yeah.
But after I got on the ground, I hid my parachute and any of the papers I had on me. And
Yeah.
we came down right over the front lines where the fighting was going on.
Oh my gosh. Ooh.
So I thought I could get through the lines and get on my own side.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
So
Wherever.
I came to a highway, a big
Yeah.
German autobahn of some kind, and I thought, well, I've got to get across that, but on both ends of it was German soldiers.
Oh dear, dear. Yeah.
So anyway, I thought, how do I get across this road now, because
Yeah.
there's one on each end
Yeah.
of the road patrolling.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, well, if I stand up and put my hands up, maybe he'll come close enough where, you know, I could disarm him or something.
Oh, yes, right.
So I stood up, and
Yeah.
I looked at him thinking he'd come over. He
Yeah.
just put the rifle up and fired.
Oh,
Never
no.
even asked or said a word.
Any word?
So that
Like, who
zing
are
went
you?
by my head quick.
Oh,
The bullet
wow.
was close, but
Oh, wow.
didn't touch me. So I
Yeah.
made myself a tough target from then on. I was
Oh.
weaving and running, and
Yeah.
I crossed that road in a few leaps
Yeah.
and kept running. Then I was scared, I'm telling you.
Oh, you must have been. Wow.
But I ran right up into the German army, and they grabbed me, you know, and
Yeah.
threw me to the ground, and they looked and saw I had some bleeding and burns on my neck and face.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they took me into an old barn and
Yeah.
told me to lay down there on the hay, and they give me
Yeah.
a cup of tea.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And while I was laying there,
Yeah.
the next guy laying beside me
Yeah.
sort of rubbed up against me or something, and I turned and looked, and it was my gunner.
Oh, for heaven's sake, isn't that amazing?
So I told him to keep quiet and don't say
Yeah.
anything, and
Sure. Isn't that amazing?
from that time till I got back in England, I never saw him again.
You never saw him again.
No.
They took him away somewhere,
Yeah,
obviously.
they took
yeah.
him somewhere to another hospital,
Oh, yeah.
and they took me back to behind the lines to a better hospital.
Yeah.
Because I had wrist burns and neck and face,
Oh,
and I know I broke out in boils from
yeah.
the infected.
Oh, really?
became infected.
Yeah. Let me ask you something right here. Would those German soldiers be aware of what you were? You know,
Oh yeah, I had wings.
You had wings, yeah.
I
I
had a
knew you were a
Canada.
flyer and everything, but they would pretty much know you were a bomber pilot.
Oh yeah,
maybe,
they were looking for us.
They were, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I say, I was shipped back to a hospital,
Yeah.
and I was in that hospital one night, and the next night, the nurse came in and poked my hand or finger or something to get blood.
Yeah.
So I said, "What are you doing that for?" She said, "Your comrade just come in, and his arm
Oh, dear.
his arm was blown off at the shoulder."
Oh, wow. Wow.
So she said,
Yeah.
"We need blood bad,
Yeah.
and if you'd give him some, we'd appreciate it."
So you said help yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah.
They laid us both on the table, and they transfused blood from me directly to him.
Did they really?
They said he
Oh.
won't live unless we get blood. And I
Wow.
conked out. They must
Yeah.
have took most of my blood because I either fainted or did something
Did you?
anyway.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
guess they stopped taking any more.
Gee, what a story. What a
That guy got repatriated right back to Canada.
Did he?
They sent him through Switzerland right back because
The
he
Germans did.
couldn't, yeah,
Oh,
he couldn't fight anymore. He was
No, sure. And all he would be is a burden to them, really.
Oh, yeah,
He,
certainly, yeah.
Medically and everything. Boy, what a story. So now you're, hey, that's something. So now you're in the, you're in a prison camp
Well, I was in a hospital for a while.
for a while, yes.
Yeah. Then they took me out of that and sent me to, you must have heard of the sweat box.
Yes, oh, yes.
Yeah, they're the little tubular
Yeah,
frames. They weren't enough so you could lay down. You just slumped
yeah.
down on the floor, and they'd
Why
put
did they
me
put you
in-
there? Want to get information?
Yeah, this was to soften you up, I guess.
Oh, boy.
Every morning they'd bring in some black bread and coffee. This went on for 4 days. Every time they'd go in, I'd say name, rank, and numbers, all I can give you. And they'd get mad, and the guys with the big monocles on their eye,
Oh,
they'd
yeah.
stand up and get him out of here.
Yes, oh, yeah.
So after the 4th day, they were really mad at me by then. They sent me back to the cell and said, "Nobody knows you're alive, you know." Said, "Your ship blew up. We know all this stuff,
Yeah.
but we don't, you know, we could shoot you. Nobody knows
Never
the
would
difference."
know the difference, yeah.
So I just said, "Well, if that's the way you do things, go ahead,
Yeah.
get it over with." But
Yeah.
after 7 days, 4 days they left me, 3 days they left me, didn't even come see me or call me or nothing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I said, "I guess this is fate, you know."
Yeah.
And on the 7th day they come and said, "Come on, you're going somewhere on a train." I said, "Well, where the hell am I going?" Now, I didn't think they were going to do anything nice for me the way they left me
Yeah.
thinking. But they sent me up through Berlin, where I almost got killed by our own bombers.
Oh, wow.
They bombed the hell out of the trains, and I
Yeah,
was on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got through that again.
Yeah. You know, you might have been better off to stay in the Army.
Yes,
With everything that happened to you in retrospect, I think.
you'd think so. But
Yeah. So you finally wound up in a prison camp, eh?
Yeah.
Barth.
up in Barth,
Barth,
up on the
yes.
Baltic coast.
Oh, yeah. And how was that? That wasn't too bad.
Well, it wasn't too bad because
Yeah.
it was the last 6 months of the war. And
Yeah.
we were hungry, I'll agree there. They didn't have much to eat
Didn't they?
themselves, the
Oh,
Germans.
yeah,
The
yeah.
rations were very
Yeah.
little. But we survived.
Now, just before I get to the end of this, I want to ask you a question. When you got your crew, I know how affected you were by, I saw obviously the loss of your crew and the man that was wounded. How do you pick your crew? How did you pick? You were the captain of the ship.
Yes,
Now, how did you get the crew?
they put all 7 crew members, which go from the captain and the navigator, bomb aimer, wireless operator, and
Yeah.
2 gunners, making
Right.
up 7.
Right.
And they put all these guys in a big hangar,
A whole bunch of them.
great big hangar, and
Yeah,
a whole
yeah.
bunch of guys, probably a couple of hundred.
Yes.
So that they're all different types. They're navigators, bomb aimers, and what have
And,
you.
yeah, all different,
And,
yeah,
I wandered around till I found a couple of guys chatting, seemed to be happy-go-lucky.
Yes,
And I joined in with them and listened to their conversation and
Yeah.
cracked a few jokes among each other.
yes, yeah.
I said, "You guys lined up with anybody?" No, they were gunners. both of
Uh-huh.
them. So
Yeah.
I said, "Well, how'd you like to join my crew?" So they said, "Fine, great."
Yeah.
Then I wandered around amongst the navigators and
And you take these two guys with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so now you're, yeah.
wandered through the hang and picked
Yeah.
up my navigator, who I just picked him up because he looked smart.
Yes, yes.
And navigator's about the smartest guy in the crew, I think.
Yes.
He knows.
Yeah. He knows more than
He gets you to the target,
target
and
and back, yeah.
back. And got him, and then we picked a bomb aimer, just another guy. We didn't know much about his job, but
Yeah.
we figured he was part of the
Yeah,
crew, so we
yeah.
picked a bomb aimer who was a very quiet guy, never said much of anything.
Yeah, that's right.
And the wireless operator, and then the
Yeah.
flight engineer was a little English fellow.
Yeah.
He was
Oh.
17 too,
Really?
real young fellow. So
Yeah.
finally we got our crew together. But I used to
Right.
tell the engineer his job was really to watch all the gauges and see if there was any red lights flashing and
Yes,
warn
yeah,
me of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But I told him to stay right up in that little dome and look for fighters. I could handle all the
All the
engines.
instruments, you
Yeah.
could do that, just look for fighters, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, now we go back to the prison camp. Sorry to interrupt the flow of your story, which is wonderful, but we're back in the prison camp now. How does that end?
Probably the funniest part of the war. Funniest part of the war for me.
Yeah,
Because the Russians came tearing through that part of the country that we were in.
yes.
The Germans, 2 days before the Russians got there, they left.
Oh,
The
the
guards
Germans just left.
took off to meet the British.
Oh, yes.
They knew they'd get damn
They-
rough
oh.
treatment if the Russians
With
caught
the
them.
Russians got them, yeah.
So they went to meet the British, and
Yeah.
we were free to go in and out of the camp, go downtown,
Oh, wow.
which we did. But when
Yeah.
the Russians came in, they drove in a herd of cattle right into the parade ground and said, "Guys, eat." They knew we
No.
were hungry.
Oh, yes.
That was a kind of a funny part.
Part.
These cattle expected us to go out and knock them down and
Down,
eat.
cut them up and
Yeah.
eat them. Oh, that's funny.
The Russians were, in my opinion, a very crude, rough bunch of people.
Oh, of course.
And
Yeah.
the story I didn't like was they shot everybody in sight, the farmers and the old people, and
Did they?
out in the field doing,
yeah.
no harm to anybody.
No, just shot everybody.
Because I used to say, we don't do that kind of stuff.
No.
They said, well, you remember Stalingrad. That's all they'd say. I guess the Germans mobbed everybody over there.
Over there, yes.
So they were just getting back at them.
Yeah.
But they came across the country in hay carts and anything that was mobile,
Oh,
hollering and
well, you know,
shooting.
Rod, war's not a, we found out, not a dance or anything.
No, sir.
No, sir. But anyway, now, the Russians, did they realize that you were Canadian?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had our Canadian badges.
You're,
There was a lot of
yeah.
Americans with us, too.
yeah.
We were all officers in our
Yeah.
camp.
So then, oh, you were?
Yeah.
Yeah, an officer's camp. Okay, so now they send you somewhere, do they?
What do you mean?
The Russians?
No,
They
no.
sent you home?
No, they just said, you stay here.
And eat,
Yeah,
eat
you're
all
British.
these cattle.
We
Yeah.
get word to the British that you're here and we've
Oh.
liberated you. And in less than a week, the big American planes were flying in, picking us up, and flying us back
Oh,
to
were
England.
they? Oh,
They
yeah.
repatriated us back in England.
In England.
Give us
oh,
2 weeks.
Oh, the big American planes would come and get
Yeah.
you, would they?
Come and
What were
get
they, military planes or
Yeah.
cargo planes?
They
or
were
what?
bombers, same as we
Bombers, were
had,
they?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gee.
They flew us over the different cities on the way back that were close.
That had been your targets?
Yeah.
Really?
Especially Hamburg and ones that
Oh,
we
yeah.
really flattened.
That must have been interesting. So
Yeah.
you'd look out the window and see what you'd done.
Yeah, nobody shooting at us.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, you came back and you came back to England.
Yeah.
And then they flew you home, did they? Or,
Oh, no, they gave us 2 weeks leave to go and have fun,
Yes,
after
yeah.
a hospital stay of about a week or two. I was
Oh,
in St. John's, I think, hospital in London.
Yeah.
they just check you over, and they said the main thing with you, your stomach is shrunk, and you got some burns there that are going to take a while to heal.
Yeah.
But they did.
And your stomach is shrunk because of lack of food.
Lack of food, yeah.
Goodness me. And so now they did this to you, and then they sent you home, eh?
Well, yeah, then they sent us back to Canada.
On a ship.
Yeah.
Which one?
The Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth this
Yeah.
time.
We went
Okay.
into New York and then back to Canada
Yeah.
that way.
Wow. You must have been quite happy to see the shores of Canada.
Oh, yeah, I was always
Yeah,
glad
but
to
you
get
still
home.
love flying?
Oh,
at
yes.
the stage?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last 50 years.
Oh my gosh.
Teaching
Okay.
flying.
So now, did you start flying right away?
Well, no, when I got back home, they sent me home for some leave before they
Yeah,
got rid of
threw
me.
you out
Yeah.
altogether. Yes.
And they did say, you can stay in if you want.
Yeah.
You know, we'll find work for you here in the Air Force. I said, no, I've had 6 years of military life. I'd like to
Yes,
get out and relax a little.
Yes.
So I decided when I got home that I should start something. You know,
Yeah.
I can't just play around. I did play around for a year.
Yeah.
They called us the Dirty Dozen.
Yes.
We used to just go from hotel to hotel and have parties. You
Did
know.
you? Yeah.
We really
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
fun year.
Yeah.
Then I decided I had to do something. So I said, well, I think I'll start a restaurant.
Oh,
And
a
name it the
restaurant.
Thunderbird Inn after my squadron.
Where did you start this?
Up in Woods Harbor, Shelburne
W-
County.
in Shelburne County, Woods Harbor, yeah.
My grandfather had a big hotel, so we had lots of room.
And how did the Thunderbird Inn go?
Didn't go too well. After a
it?
couple of years, I decided that wasn't for me. I didn't pay any attention to it. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't
Ah,
go.
yeah.
My mother and daughters, sisters were running it.
Yeah.
And I had one girl hired who I thought I was paying too much money for, so I married her. That was my first wife. Jean knows. And,
Anyway, now, so you closed the Thunderbird Inn.
yeah, and the girl I married, her father was in the United States. They lived in the States, and he wanted me to come down there and see what I wanted to do.
Oh.
So I said, I know what I want to do. I want
Yeah.
to fly.
Fly.
So,
Yeah.
They told me I couldn't join their airlines for 5 years till I got to be a citizen or something.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going back home again. I called up the RCMP and everybody that had a flying part in their system.
Yeah.
Tried to get with them. They said, well, you can go up north and fly up in the
Bush pilots,
Eskimo
yeah.
country, but you can't get married and you can't do this, you can't do that. I
yeah.
said, no more regimentation for me. I want to
Yeah.
do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I kept going back to the States for the year or two, and then I went to the I had made a mistake. I went down to the nearest airport
Yeah.
and got talking to some guys, and they said, hey, why don't you teach?
Oh.
So I said, well, I never thought of that. And they said, yeah, you can't get in the airlines because you're not a citizen, but you can teach.
Yeah.
So I did. I applied for an instructor's job and got it.
And you did that?
And I was only there a couple of 3 years, and the guy said, you should be running this school, not me. He said, I don't
Yeah.
like flying, you do.
Yeah.
So, because I flew night and day once
Sure,
I got
yeah.
instructing. I really flew all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Right.
So he talked me into taking the school over, the flying
did?
part.
Yeah.
He did the maintenance part, which made money.
Yeah, right.
The flying part he sold to me.
Yeah. So you did that, but
I
you
did
loved
it.
it.
Did it the last 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Now my daughter runs that flying school.
In the States?
Yeah.
But you're here.
Yeah, I'm retired. I'm out of
Yeah.
it.
Oh, but you came home to Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I want to come home. They haven't let me in yet.
Haven't they?
No,
Oh.
I'm still trying to get in
Isn't that fun?
as a landed immigrant.
You have to get a
That's
landed
it.
immigrant?
I didn't think it was right. I said, hell, I fought for you for 6 years.
I know, yeah.
Prisoner of war and all that. I should be able to come home.
Yeah, you should be able to.
But I think I'll get there eventually.
Oh, I would feel pretty
Somebody
confident
told
that.
me to join the Legion and they'll help you
Yeah.
out. So that's what I did.
Did, good. Where now do you live?
In Berwick. I
In
joined,
Berwick?
joined the Berwick Legion.
Oh, yeah. Do you like it back home?
Oh, yeah, I relax up here.
Yeah.
Jean's got a lovely, what do you call it? What kind of a home? Mini home. She got a new mini home, so I
Oh.
just relaxed,
Oh, that's
lay
great,
back.
Yeah.
But I want to fly now, but they won't let me. I've got a medical holdup. I got a clogged artery, which
Listen, you've done enough flying.
I still want to fly, though.
Yes, Rod, I know you do. But anyway, what a wonderful story this has been. Yes, and how do you feel about it? Would you do it over again?
Oh, in a minute.
In a minute, I'll bet you. Yeah. You flyers, there's no stopping you. You know, us Navy fellas get tired and don't want to go out and row anymore, but you guys never do. Yeah. Anyway, Rod, it was certainly a pleasure having you today.
Oh, it's your
and
pleasure
hearing
being
your story. And I want to wish you the very best of luck.
Okay.
And you certainly have to come home, and but I know that'll happen. And I want you to enjoy yourself.
Yep.
And you and your lovely wife.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for coming
Thank you.
today. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the wonderful interview I promised you of Mr. Rodney Shand Gorham. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And now I'd like to thank a bunch of people. I'd like to thank our cable people, and I'd like to thank the Legion, and our producer, and just about everyone that would like to bow, I'd like to thank. And say, watch for us next